Who wants to play a game?
It's time for hide and seek.
Run, run, run. Time to run and hide. Run, run, run. And now I'm going to find you. Scurry off into the darkness. Hurry, I'm behind you. Don't you speak. Hide and seek.
Well, we've all played the game hide and seek as kids. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready or not, here I come. We loudly announce and then go off to find the hidden person. It's a game we've all played. We played it as kids. And apparently it's a pretty natural game that we still want to play as adults. I heard actually there was a world championship of hide and seek. There's extreme hide and seek. There's all sorts of versions of hide and seek, but none is more relevant to the area of recovery and recovery from porn and other sexual compulsions. We all naturally want to hide. I was a kid, I used to wonder what it would be like if I had an invisibility cloak where I could go around and be completely unseen. The Harry Potter invisibility cloak, and I used to fantasize about all sorts of not so nice things. But, there's just something instinctive about wanting to hide. I think the hiding comes more naturally than the seeking. I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of the kid who's putting his hand in the cookie jar and it's all being videotaped and he's caught mid reaching for the jar and with his hand in the jar, and his mom catches him and he turns around quickly and goes, "Here, mommy, for you." Hide and seek. Lifehacks is where we take one of the lessons from our Finding Traction course. And today's lesson is just a bit of a snapshot of the fuller lesson that you can obviously find on bandofbrothers.care. You can see and connect with me in terms of getting the full curriculum. But I wanted to just give you a snapshot of lesson 6, which is all about the areas of isolation versus connection. Now, you might say, well, why do we hide? We go to all sorts of lengths. Our internet browsers, try to help us hide. We have things like incognito mode and private mode to hide our behaviors. VPNs are a way for us to look like we're in one country when we're actually in another country. We hide because we don't want to have people see what we're doing. A fear of being exposed. One of the most cringe-worthy videos I ever saw was of this guy sitting at the back of his lecture hall. Those big university lecture halls, if you've been to the big, state or provincial universities like I was, 200-300 students. And there was a guy at the back and he was sitting with his laptop open, supposedly taking notes, but really what he was doing was watching porn. But he didn't have his headphone jack all the way in, and everybody could hear the porn going on as he was listening to it. So at some point, the lecturer stops and all the students turn and look at him. And he's, of course, intently watching his porn on his laptop. And he looks up in horror and realizes everybody's watching him. He slams his laptop, shut and races out of the lecture hall. It's just like everybody's worst fear. We have a fear of being exposed. We hide naturally. One day I was in my office and I had a fellow come in, a guy that I'd been working with, and his face was he looked like he had been scared to death. And he said to me, he says, "I am freaked out." He says, "I was surfing and looking at porn and all of a sudden an FBI warning came up." Now, I don't know if it was real. He doesn't know it was real, but it put the fear of God in him. He says, "Take my laptop and destroy it. I'm afraid, deathly afraid of being found out." We all run and hide. And it's very natural for us to hide from connection. You see, connection is the very thing we need in order to break the cycle in our lives. Here's a common occurrence. I get a lot of guys talking to guys who go through their teenage years and then move into their 20s. And, up to this time, really, their surfing and browsing life has really been unto themselves. They've really been able to look at what they've wanted, to not have to have any exposure from anybody else. And then, they've been able to, they have their own Wi-Fi and all of that. And now all of a sudden they're moving into a serious relationship, that's a dating relationship, or now they're newly married. And for the very first time, they realize, what? My life is becoming more of an open book, and it's incredibly scary for a lot of guys because there are fears of being exposed. They of course thought that marriage would take all this away, and now all of a sudden they have to do with this new threat of exposure. Lesson 6 is all about isolation versus connection. And I want to just, I don't even think this is, it's a necessarily a religious concept. Most women, for example, in committed relationships, spiritual or not, no matter how they define their spiritual beliefs, they don't want to share their new boyfriend or their new husband with a host of other real and virtual women. And when their husband or boyfriend realizes that they're not cool with it, their first response is to go back into hiding. The most counterintuitive thing for us to do is to reach out, to allow the light to begin to shine and to be able to come out of secrecy. It's like we're held in a dark dungeon. We're trapped, and we know there's people with keys, but we're too embarrassed to call out for help. So I want to encourage you to connect with me. My email is bandofbrothers@shaw.ca, and I can connect you with the Finding Traction curriculum, because lesson 6 is all about how to come out of isolation and hiding and to find true connection in your life. We'll see you next time.